Hello and good evening everybody, and welcome back. Hope you're ready for some more reading. I've got my therapy buddies with me. So, he's fell over. He or she has fell over. I haven't got a name for him yet, or a gender. Anyway, shall we? I also have the book, just in case you was wondering where it was. Now, get the selfie stick up. Now, if you remember, we're near the end. Isn't that great? But it has been a very long book and a very long series. It really has. I should stop doing that thing with my eyes, or my eyebrows, I should say. Don't mean to do it. Just, I end up talking and it's like that. I have no idea why I do it. Makes it look like a prat, in my opinion. Anyway, before I get into it, shall we begin? Helping your family to break free from OCD. While we know that rituals, compulsions and reassurance make the problem worse, it is very difficult to deny help with these things to someone who is desperate and anxious. It is wholly understandable that families do give reassurance and even accommodate compulsions and rituals. Excuse me. The problem is not located in modate compulsions and rituals. Wait, I'm going to start the sentence again. The problem is not located in family members doing these things, but the fact that they are being asked to do them in the first place. If you have been doing this, then it is a result of your OCD bullying you. Obsessional behaviour is born of fear. You do not need to feel guilty about it, as you are trapped in this fear. Before you really understood what was happening and how OCD works, you did not have a real choice to do anything differently. You were doing the best you could. Even knowing about OCD does not make it easy to change, but it is certainly a good starting point. Now is the time to really get angry with this problem, bullying you and getting in the way of your life. The route to changing and breaking free from OCD is for you to understand the problem and what is unhelpful, and to test out what happens if you do things differently. If you feel able, sharing this understanding and knowledge with a trusted loved one or friend can help in several ways. First, explaining the problem to someone else gives you a way to make sure it makes sense to you and to clarify your own understanding. If you'd rather not explain in detail, you can talk in general terms about the principles involved. In particular, the fish's flower we discussed earlier. And that would be the flower diagrams we saw in many previous chapters. Second, the other person may not really know about OCD, or about your OCD in particular, and what sort of problem it really is. It may come as a relief to know that this is a problem of anxiety that has a strong internal logic. Third, if the other person understands what OCD is and how it works, then they will better understand how to help you in your fight against this problem. Of course, only you can change your behaviour, but if you feel strongly compelled to avoid something, ask reassurance or ritualise. They can help you focus on the fact that this is part of the OCD, not a behaviour that is keeping them or you safe, in order to help you in your decision making. Here are some practical strategies to help you. A. Explain how reassurance seeking and accommodation help the OCD by keeping the idea of danger going. B. Agree a form of words that your family member can use to remind you of that when you're anxious. For example, it's just the OCD trying to have a go at you. It will pass. C. Discuss with them how they can help support you when you are anxious and fighting the urge to ritualise, including when you want to seek reassurance. Ask if they might help by, for example, giving you a hug, putting on music, or whatever you might find helpful as a way of coping with the anxiety or confronting your fears. D. Let them know about your goals and targets so that they can encourage and support you in changing. And lastly, E. Don't worry about slip-ups and giving in to the OCD if you do. Recovery is not always a straightforward line. Just try to learn from what happened and take each day as a new opportunity to take something back from the OCD. Similarly, your family should not worry if they give in and give you reassurance or check something for you. See page 215 for more information about slip-ups. Now, I've said this before in previous videos, not in the OCD series, but I've said this before, that this journey is going to be filled with slip-ups. And it's not about how many slip-ups you have, okay? It's about how you react to the slip-up. It's like falling over. Okay, imagine you're walking along the street, just going along your business. Suddenly, you fall over. You're stuck on the floor. What do? Do you stay there and say, I don't think I'll walk again? Or do you get back up and go, I'm walking? See? That is how you do it. You've got to get back up. There will be falls and there will be slip-ups in this. Such as my journey, my battle against depression. There are times when I am quite low. There have been times recently, but I've gone over them. And I do a lot better. I mean, I can't remember the last time I cried. I really can't remember the last time I actually cried myself to sleep. That's good. That's really good. It means I'm getting better. And if you stop and think for a moment, then you'll realise that you're going to actually stop what we're doing and have a think about that, okay? I'm going to count from 5. Then I want you to pause the video, okay? And have a think about it, okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Okay, did you have a think? Did you think about a slip up and how you reacted to it? Have you thought about how you're getting better? No? Well, wasn't mandatory. But did you? If you did, good for you. Think about that. Don't have to share it, just think about it. Just make a little mental note up here. And just think about that improvement and how better you're actually doing. It may not seem much, doesn't matter if it's a massive amount or a teeny tiny amount. All that matters is that you're getting there. That is the most important thing. Back to the book. Behavioural experiment reassurance. Mary would often ask, okay, we're going back to Mary and Brian. If you remember, Mary was obsessed and Brian was getting quite annoyed with it. Mary would often ask Brian for reassurance. She would ask him if he thought that the bus was safe, her hands were clean enough, if she had cooked food for long enough. Mary and Brian discussed the role of reassurance. It makes OCD worse. Mary explained that while she experienced a temporary relief of anxiety, the long-term reassurance worked in the same way as all her safety-seeking behaviours. Made her thoughts and beliefs about contamination feel more important. It also made her reliant on other people. Another way that OCD had robbed her of her freedom. Mary undertook to not ask Brian for reassurance, but worried that she would get very anxious and might need to ask for it. I know this is stupid, but I kept thinking I saw a ghost behind me. Or some malicious spirit out to get me. I know it's not. It's stupid because it's just me on the screen up there. Although you could argue that I am my own worst enemy. Could past me be jealous of future me and how much better I'm doing? Could be. Maybe past me looks at future me and thinking, why haven't you done it yet? Actually, you know, I should stop this and just read. And try not to let the thoughts take over. Now, where was I? Mary undertook to not ask Brian for reassurance, worried that she would get very anxious and might need to ask for it. Brian pointed out that refusing to give reassurance is hard and upsetting for both of them, as he felt unkind, and Mary would get upset. They agreed that rather than Brian refusing point blank to give reassurance, he would try to remind Mary that reassurance is the OCD trying to ruin her life. It's a thin tightrope you have to walk, I imagine, for the non-OCD people to help the OCD, because one time you want to reassure, at the same time you know it's making it worse. So I suppose that does cause all sorts of problems. It was agreed that Brian would say the following: "I think it's a reassurance question." I will answer your question if you want me to, but can we remind ourselves about how this OCD works? Do you remember this happened yesterday when I gave you reassurance you didn't feel any better? You ended up feeling worse. You must be very anxious or you wouldn't be asking that question. Poor you! You're doing such a good job of trying not to ask questions. Let's try to stick to it. What shall we do instead? How about a big cuddle? See, I'm not too sure I want someone or a non-OCD person saying poor you. Sounds very... can't think of the word. Condescending, I think I mean. If I'm thinking of a different word, I'll put the meaning up on screen about now. Although the big cuddle does sound nice, I will be honest with you. It does. Anyway, they agreed that Mary would cook dinner and try not to seek reassurance about whether the food was properly cooked. Okay, good luck with that, Mary. Good luck. Now we have a planned behavioural experiment. I'll show it to you. So I'm going to read that. The planned behavioural experiment. Cooking chicken for Brian. Some specific predictions and how much I believe them. I'll get the urge to ask Brian for reassurance. 100%. I'll need to ask Brian for reassurance. 70%. Brian and I will get salmonella. Symptoms will start within 4 hours. 50%. We will be hospitalised within 24 hours. 50%. Brian will die. 40%. I will die. 30%. I have nothing to add to that, unfortunately, people. Nothing to add at all. And the experiment continues on the following page. Did the predictions come true? Whilst I did get the urge for reassurance many times, when opening the pack of chicken, however, when taking it out of the pan and when eating. Okay, that makes no sense. Let me go again. I did get the urge to ask for reassurance many times. Okay, I should not have said however. I don't know why I did that word. But when opening the pack of... Okay, I've got this now. I got the urge for reassurance many times. Those times including when I opened the pack of chicken, when I took it out of the pan, when I was eating. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question. I'm asking myself then. I did ask Brian when eating. Once when putting the chicken on the plate, he reminded me that it was unhelpful to answer. Neither of us got salmonella and died. That's nice. Conclusions. The urge was there, but I tried hard to overcome it and just have a normal conversation with Brian. Normal was written in the book twice, by the way. It's not me repeating words. I realised he usually gets stressed as I'm always asking him questions. It was much better to just chat. I felt really anxious when I put the chicken on his plate and did ask him. He went through what we had agreed and we had managed to not do actual reassurance. I felt very anxious for the first few minutes, but I managed to ignore the urge and keep eating. Now, does this fit with theory A or theory B? What do you think? This fits best with theory B. I have been worrying about disease and making someone else ill. One of the best things about fighting back against your OCD is that it benefits not only you, but those around you. And often straight away too. You'll have more time, more freedom, and more clear-minded attention without this problem. A huge OCD lies that not performing rituals and compulsions is irresponsible and potentially harmful to others. You may feel like this at first, which of course does not make it true. If you ask your family, it is likely they will agree that they do not get any benefit from you having OCD, and that they would rather have you back OCD free. Now, Mary felt horribly guilty about the impact of her fears on Brian, but had always thought of it as doing her best to try to protect him and her son Jeff. While she knew she could go a bit far with her rules and worries, she never really thought of it as a problem until she read an article on OCD in a magazine. This described many of the behaviours and thoughts she herself had. The more she thought about it, the more she realised that she had gone further and further in her behaviour, which had an effect on everyone in her family. Although they had not been physically ill for a while, she understood that the home was not very happy. She showed the article to Brian, who was hugely relieved that this problem had a name, and that treatment was available and effective. Mary researched OCD more and went to her GP, who confirmed the diagnosis and referred her for CBT. During therapy, she identified the problem as one of fear that she would be responsible for Jeff becoming ill, rather than in danger that he would become ill. She explained this to Brian, who was more understanding towards her, not wanting him to help with Jeff. He was pleased that her goals involved not checking on him and getting him to take Jeff out for the day, as well as allowing the house to become messy. Well, less strictly neat and clean. He was particularly pleased that he no longer had to change when he came in. It was difficult for Mary in the first stages, and she would still frequently ask Brian for reassurance and would occasionally even clean after him. Although it was difficult to see the OCD bullying her occasionally, Brian was less annoyed as he understood why she did this. He felt proud that Mary was confronting her fears that had been growing for so many years. The obvious delight of Jeff as Mary and Brian watched him play in the local sandpit was a strong motivator. If you're having difficulty not asking for reassurance or not asking others to follow obsessional rules, think about two visions of the future. Project forward to 5 or 10 years' time. In the first exercise, imagine how family and social life will be if you carry on with the obsessional behaviour. Try to put yourself in the position of those around you and what their life would be like if they go along with it. It is likely that this is a future of restriction, conflict and unhappiness. Would they be thanking you for keeping them safe and following your rules? It's unlikely, isn't it? It really is. Think now of the alternative future, where you start and continue in the fight towards an OCD-free life. What will your relationships be like after 5 or 10 years of this? What will you be able to do? How will others feel about you for not being obsessional? This is a real choice that you have and a real future that you can have if only you just let go of your OCD. So, Bill, what do you think? Parents with OCD. Spouses, friends and parents are usually the people most involved in supporting people with OCD as they are adults. But in families with children, there are some particular issues and questions that often present themselves. My OCD is making it very difficult to deal with my child's development and behaviour. As we develop from infancy to adulthood, we all go through a number of different developmental stages. If you're a parent with OCD, depending on the time that you develop the problem, depending on the type of OCD you have, it is possible that various aspects of your child's behaviour may have come into conflict with the demands and rules of your OCD. One obvious example is if you have worries about contamination and dirt, then the normal behaviour of a toddler and child getting very messy, putting their little hands in all sorts of things and into their mouths too. This may be very anxiety provoking. And well, quite frankly, for an OCD person, I think it would be very anxiety provoking. That's just my opinion. The OCD may say, well, it's fine to take a risk for yourself, but what about your child? That's really irresponsible. This is not true. OCD is a damaging problem that causes people to take unnecessary and excessive precautions that become a problem in themselves. Your child needs to explore and have contact with the world. The most responsible thing you can do is not to do what the OCD wants and to allow the baby to do normal things. It is important to see that the OCD will focus you on one domain. In this example, safeguarding the child's physical health. If you think about all the things that contribute to being a good parent, there is far more to it than that. Most people would also include emotional availability, ability to have fun, the ability to soothe and comfort the child, and many other qualities and abilities. All these things are important. although no one person will be perfect in any domain. Focusing on just one part of being a parent is likely to affect the other parts. Fighting back against the OCD will put things back in balance and help you be the best you can be. If you're not sure what is normal with regard to boundaries for children, have a look when you see parents with their children and ask other parents if you can what sort of approach they would take, or they do take I should say. There will always be a range of behaviours and different opinions on how to go about things. However, most people would not take the extremes of overprotection/restriction of the child or underprotection/laxness, but will be somewhere in the middle as a general guide. Another area that may be difficult for you if you have OCD is helping your child manage their own fears and anxiety. This is perhaps particularly difficult if your child is showing signs of being obsessional. This is very understandable, of course. It will be harder for you to help your child if their fears chime with yours, and many parents with OCD feel very guilty that you may have passed on the OCD. Recent research says that working on your own difficulties will help you help your child, as you will truly know what the experience is like and the realities of facing up to your anxiety. Many treatment programs for children with clinical levels of anxiety will involve the parent as a co-therapist, whether they have anxiety or not. Treatment is likely to be more effective if the parent has at least an understanding of their own difficulties. Can I pass on OCD to my children? If you have suffered from the debilitating effects of OCD, it is understandable that you will not want your children to experience what you have been through. It is a common worry that OCD can be passed on to children, particularly for parents whose own parent may have had the disorder. Of course, children are influenced by parents. That is the way that it should be. If you have OCD, you may have noticed that you are anxious at times and will try to make sense of that. However, remember that the OCD is only one part of you and what is going on in their lives. We discuss biological and psychological vulnerabilities in more detail in Chapter 2. But the overall message is that it's perfectly possible to have OCD and for your children not to have OCD. In fact, it's also possible to have OCD and be a very good parent. However, that does not mean that you should live with the OCD. Far from it. The fact that it is there means that it will be affecting things in some way, but having less time to give to your children, or yourself for that matter, or enjoying being with them less due to depression and anxiety, may be affecting life in more direct ways, such as stopping you going to particular places or doing certain activities. Apart from getting rid of the OCD, if that's not immediately possible for you, one of the most important things you can do to minimize any possible impact on your children is to not involve them in your obsessions and rituals. This will not only make sure that they do not pick up any obsessional ideas or get frustrated by having to follow obsessional rules, but it will help you challenge your own OCD and see that those rules are really not necessary, as well as being therapeutic for you. It can be a lot of fun for children to be allowed to make a whole lot of mess. You will enjoy being a parent, and your children will enjoy you far more without OCD in your life. The best thing you can do for you and your child is to overcome your OCD. Disclosure. There is no hard and fast rule about the best time, how or indeed whether to tell a child at all that you have OCD. This of course depends on the particulars of your situation and the age and nature of the child. So one person in their 20s said, "My mother used to disappear into the bathroom for hours on end. For years I thought she had some sort of drug problem. One day she sat down and said it was OCD and that she went into the bathroom to do her rituals. I was very relieved." You know your situation and your child can make a judgment as to whether this closure is appropriate and likely to be helpful. Of course, as ever, the best disclosure is that you have had a problem called OCD, but you are now working through it, and these are the new things that you and your child will now be doing. And with that thought, I'll be saying good night, or goodbye, depending on the time of day it is where you're from. But it's been a productive evening. We've learnt about many things, and we've made even more progress in the book. Now, I hope you're all taking care of yourselves, and I do mean it from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you're all well too. So until next time, take care of yourselves, people. Bye.